It is cold. It is very cold here. It's about -7. So I've got some jobs to do. Anyway, so we're in the woodshed, obviously, as you can see here. Now we're back down to basically nothing again. So job for today is I need to take all this out, you know, all of the tree timbers, the stumps or whatever, they all need to be chopped with the axe, stacked. And then there's a lot of pieces here which are just long sort of pieces. I have an electric saw which we can get out and we'll chop them into nice little pieces. And you know, I have some of these big chunks which I just don't know what to do with in a minute, so I've got to figure out what to do with them. But I would like to clear as much of this as possible, get this filled up as much as possible, and then have a clean up. That would be the nice idea. I would like to get as much cut today as possible. I also kind of want to go through this. This is everything to burn as well, but a lot of this is more minging wood. So all of this needs to be sorted as well and cut into the right places and stored. If I need to put stuff here or not. Some of these can probably be cut as well, to be honest. There's a lot of cutting to do, so that's what we're gonna do. I want to sort this today and tomorrow, so I'm gonna go get the saw, find the axe wherever that is, and we will just set up a bit of a time lapse and just start grafting, just start cutting. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm sure there was something else I wanted to tell you as well, but I don't remember. So if it comes back to me, I'll tell you. And if it doesn't, well then it doesn't matter, does it? All right, let's go get the saw and crack it. Look at the pool, just to show you how cold it is here. Obviously, this is all ice, as you can tell. It's very, very thick. It doesn't stick to the edges, so you can see the water, but it is solid. Anybody fancy a swim? Right, let's get the saw and jump. No, don't jump. Crack on, you know. Jump into it. That's what I wanted to say. I have a load of bricks. I would like to get this area flush to this, because obviously this was part finished, and obviously it's a long job. So yeah, let's get the saw and get straight into it. I've just noticed on the back here is a, well, there is meant to be a little plastic thing which you pull out like a pin and it kind of releases the saw. Well, the plastic thing is not there. So at some point, last time when I was using this and I didn't realize, it would have come off somewhere in here, somewhere on the floor. Well, we can't think about that, so I'm gonna try and get something magnetic, because there's a piece of metal, it's about this long, and it kind of slides in to a hole which locks it, so, you know, safety. So give me a minute, I need to figure this out first. Okay, problem solved. There's a metal lock, I don't know how well you can see on camera, it doesn't matter. I managed to get it out. Now, I have taken the safety cover off this because, not very smart, but because some of these bigger, some of these bigger trees, I can actually cut on this. It's probably not the cleverest thing in the world, but you cut it, turn the tree slightly, cut it, turn the tree, cut it, you know, and then you can cut through it, but with the safety off. So I don't recommend this to anybody, because if you're watching this, this is probably not safe for 90% of what I do, but I'm doing this at my own risk, so I will at least wear goggles. But yeah, just so you know, in case you see this, you understand what it's meant to look like, and you think that's stupid, you would be right. Okay. I don't really know where to put you, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, let's let the show begin. does get stuck sometimes, but it's just part of it, you know. I'm used to it by now. Still works. Gonna get some gloves because my hands are just frozen. I stole my missus' gardening gloves and a black pair over the top because it's very cold. Okay, we got 2 more down there. We got some logs to cut, some longer ones, and then once we've done that, we can get on the axe and we can start putting all this away. Well, tidying this area anyway. As I said, do not recommend anybody to do that. The last thing you want to do is, whoa, where's the light gone? There it is. Last thing you want to do is lose a few fingers. So definitely don't try that at home. But there you go. Okay, now I need to find the axe and we can chop up all the rest. And then once we get a big pile of mess here, then we can stack it and make it nice. Okay, found the axe. This is a good axe. It does the job nicely. All right, let's just put this as a nice little time lapse and just get this done, and then we can crack on to the next job. Good thing about cutting wood is gives you a bit of exercise, warms you up. Oh, I'm boiling. Okay, we're most of the way finished. We got about, well, probably almost halfway there, to be honest. So we get the rest of these done, and then we can make it look tidy. I have a big stump, which I just don't know what to do with, to be honest. But we'll worry about that another day. Okay, so that's it all cut. You know, a nice big pile of firewood. Everything is cleared over here now. I'll show you. So everything's cleared, which is nice. And the reason I've done this is because we're having new firewood being delivered. Yeah, these are the stumps. I don't know what to do with them yet. They're too big to go on the saw. And I don't think I'll be able to chop them with the axe, to be honest. So yeah, I'm glad I've got that. Glad I've got that out of the way. Now it's just a fun job of stacking them all in here. A lot of these smaller pieces will go on top, like kindling. But yeah. Okay, let's go. finished. Yay. Now it's just to clean up everything, because a lot of these trees, they were basically rotted last year, so all the bark fell off. So yeah, we got a bit of a clean up to do, but it's looking much better. Wood's ready for the next month or two. Next time I come home, my partner's brother works for the woods people. Check's weird, I'm not going to go into it right now, but yeah, he does work each year for the woods people. So he's going to be bringing us 2 loads of new wood, basically, which will be for next year. So I have to clear out the woodshed to make space for that, but that's why I wanted to clear the back, because then when I come home in March, I can get it nice and set up, ready for next year, and then rinse and repeat. So let's go ahead and have a clean up. I don't know what to do with all this bark, because it's still make a good fire. Maybe I still have these bags left over from the wood, so I may just fill them. I may just fill the bags, to be honest. It's a good idea. All right, let's let's crack on. bad. So we got 3 bags of the wood bark, which we can just add to fires for kindling and stuff like that. So that's good. That's at least done that. Storage is obviously nice and stacked, ready. Everything's clean. Well, I mean, it's a wood storage, so it's as clean as it can be. Okay, so that's all done. The next thing I need to do, which is the last thing I need to do really with cutting wood, at least for now, is I would like to start going through this box. This is all just stuff to burn, but obviously it's all over the place. You can see the sizes, you can see the lengths. So I'm gonna go through this, I'm gonna cut them up, and I've left this empty, and I'm basically gonna cut them just so they're the right size, and then fill that up to the top. And then that's another job out of the way. And then we'll see how long that takes, and we'll go from there. It's getting colder again. Oh, I can't wait for summer. Oh, spring and summer, cannot wait. Okay, that'll do. We got a nice. We got a nice pile going. So the rest of this is all just smalls. So basically, when myself or my partner comes for firewood, we can just basically fill up one of the little baskets we have with the smalls, and they can just go straight in the fire. So I've done a nice chunk of it, which is all the, as I said, all the long stuff. That's all done. That can just stay as it is. That will be burnt over the next month now, and yeah, we got a nice pile. So let's set the camera up somewhere, and we'll make a nice little pile. Not a pile, a stack. We'll make a stack. It is in a pile. My English is just awful, I know. We got a nice bit of fire starter kindling. That'll do nicely. This area will eventually be, I'm hoping brick, because we got a lot of bricks here. So I will take this up, clean it a bit, and make it a bit nicer, like this area. But I literally cut the pieces, and I forgot I have 1, 2, and I think there's another one somewhere. 3 long pieces which were to cut up as well. I just forgot about them, so it doesn't matter. Oh, it looks much. It's much nicer already. Bag is ready for the wood. Wood is stocked. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking good. Okay. I think that'll do for the wood, to be honest, for now. Oh, it's getting cold, so I'm gonna go have some food. I hope you've enjoyed watching me sort out the wood. There is a lot more to come of wood. So if you're a fan of wood, hit that subscribe button. And if you got bored in this, hit a comment, let me know. Or if you just want to chat, pass on some information. If you need to moan about something, you know, hit me up. I'm always here to talk or listen. I will talk or listen, whatever. Yeah, okay. There was something I was meant to do. There was literally something I was meant to do, and I cannot think of it. It's been driving me insane for ages. But it's just not going to come back to me. I don't think so. I just don't think it will. So anyway, okay, on to the next one, and I will see you next time.